Hi folks, it's Pete the Psychic Medium again, and today is, where's my calendar gone? Yeah, Saturday the 8th of February 2025, and as always this is for entertainment purposes, but primarily spiritual development, especially with today's, vlog, because I'm going to be returning to an event that occurred, and I have to keep coming over here, as you know from what I've said in previous vlogs. My memory is atrocious. It really is a part of the disability I think I've always had. But it was around about May of 2018 that I first wrote up the story of Sam. Now, Sam, the story basically is about how Sam passed away and then came back spiritually, and we communed. Included in this is the fact that a third party, a close friend of Sammy, oh, pardon me, of Sam, and also a mutual friend, the three of us. I could go into more, but it's best if I keep the story, because I'm not using real names, to protect the guilty, namely me. No, not quite. The other party involved is Danny. I call him Danny. Now, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to put in this one video, because it's a long story, but I'll probably do it in sections. Anyway, the basic of the story is that Sam was married, and his wife was Jill, and they used to pick fruit at Gayndah, which is where Danny used to be as well. And this particular afternoon, Sam came home from work, saw his lovely wife sitting on, or lying on the couch, and when he went over to say hello, she'd been dead for quite some time, probably since he left in the morning. He was devastated, and he never ever got over it. It was one of those things where if anyone is dedicated to a partner, it was those two. And it really was a massive blow to him, and his life really changed. So it was after that, it was some time after that. In fact, I don't know whether I've put... Yes, it was in 2006 that happened. So then we bring us up to it was 2011 or 12 that Sam was diagnosed with lung cancer. And I'd known him because I used to come up to Gayndah from down Hervey Bay, where I was then living. And so I decided that... I offered to help him out, because he had to get down to the hospitals, I think it was down in Hervey Bay, and he couldn't drive back. When they started, I took part of his lung out, I think, from memory. And so I was involved with him at Gayndah. Well, actually, it's not Gayndah, it's not far from here, a place called Garoolba. So it was in that area. Wrong mouse. Put that over there, you twit. That's it. So it was towards the end of 2015, after complaints in the neck, that was when he was actually diagnosed with cancer. In 2015, yeah. The condition worsened, and he moved into a retirement village at Gayndah, but then he had to keep coming down for treatment to Bundaberg General Hospital, major hospital. So when they realised that he was terminal, they moved him into a private hospital, and that was in, it was 2017 that he was moved into that place. Now, Danny and his wife and I would come down and visit him in this private hospital. And of course, both Danny and I, Danny's psychic, very psychic, and we would share our thoughts about the future for Sam. But Sam was adamant. That was it. When I go, that's it. It'll be nothing. It's dead. Yet at the same time, and Danny brought this up with him, I think, a bit more times than I did, he said, was, well, okay, well, you keep talking about your beautiful wife, Jill, we'll call her, waiting for you on the other side. Yet you don't believe in another side. He used to always get past all of those trickies by having a laugh and dismiss it. So it was something that was, well, in view of the rest of the story, maybe we were getting through and we didn't realise it. But anyway, he would never accept the fact, or tell us anyway, he accepted the fact that there was a life after. So that brings us up to his passing. If I can find that, I'm flipping through these. It was on the 26th of February. Oh, there we go. It's around this time coming up. But it was in 2018. And reading from, and I've got this in a blog, by the way. I'll try if I remember, my memory being as it is, I'll try and put the link up to this particular blog. So it was on the Sunday, the 25th of February, at 6 p.m. My friend Sammy gave up his breath. He had been battling the cancer, as I've already said. It was the Monday morning, the 26th of February, while I was on my way to drop off refuge at the tip at Gaynor, because by this time, I'd moved into an area not far from where Sammy lived in Garoolba. But Danny contacted me to let me know that Sam had passed over the night before. Yeah, I'm just trying. Yeah. Even though we were expecting him to pass, it was still a shock. It really was a shock. And I pulled over on the side of the road on the way home, and it was sort of like, well, I'll just have a quiet time with my guidance and my spirit friends, and just to send to him a fast passing, a connection with, and it's something we should all do whenever there's someone has passed over, or whether there's the instead of the thoughts and prayers rubbish. Sorry, but it is just rubbish. It needs to be more than that. If someone has passed over, or if there's some situation happening where a loved one of someone else, you can always say that, I guess. But the better one is to be like we did, or I did, and Danny did too, he told me later. We sat quietly and just imagine we're in Sam's company, and saying to Sam inside, hey, it's all right, you're okay, you are protected. He knew I was psychic. I have no reservations that you'll be all right. You'll be okay. Because what else? No one's going to be off to hell. That's all crap. So it was to reassure him. And from something, and of course, when you're in spirit, you will know truth. Almost instantly, you'll know truth. You may not know your own truth, you're so confused, but you'll be able to sense when someone else is sending you love or thoughts of kindness or care. Yeah, you'll know it's the truth. So I sat on the side of the road. On the half-hour trip to my home, I felt quite strange. Wait a minute, it was a bit before that. Oh, no, that's right. I felt quite strange and even more emotional than I had been earlier. So after taking the side of the road to my village off the main highway, I sat quietly on the side of the road. I was totally shocked to have Sam's presence in my meditation. In that time that I was sitting here and offering, I had Sam. I'm feeling all tingly now from the recollection of it. And it is just like that. It's, oh my God, what's going on? Hi Sam, you're probably here. He could well, I don't know, he's distant because he's been gone a while. I'm not too sure if he's past the tumbling. If he's still in the sense of the tumbling, yes, he could easily come back. Anyway, so I was totally shocked to have Sam present. He was quite panicky, gasping for breath. Oh, that's right, yeah, and extremely agitated. with the guidance of my spirit friends, I was able to get him to breathe and relax. And I remember he was like, he died because of the lung cancer had taken everything. He had lung cancer, bone cancer, God almighty. There was no Sam left. He was all cancer. And his breathing was erratic. And even doing that, as I looked at my imagery there, I thought, that's exactly how he went. It looks like I knew him before he passed. Anyway, so I just said to him, slow down, Sammy, slow down. Take a very long, slow breath. Oh, I can't do that. I can't. I'm having a... No, listen to me. One breath. Just try one breath. So he sort of reluctantly... Oh, that's bad. That's my... And he went back to the way he was. So I was able to get through, and of course I'm just stunned. And just explaining to you, that was not me talking to Sam. That was this power of peace, goodwill, the same energy that comes through me when I'm trancing to you guys, the same power. So Peter wasn't doing this. This was the power of love coming through and showing him that he was safe. So I think slowly he began to slip into a state of peace. I did this, it was about it was the longest trip home I've ever had. It's about a half an hour trip for me. And I think I remember I had chooks in the backyard and they were due a feed. When they got back, they were starving. So it was close to an hour and a half, 2 hours, I think, all up, when, in that timing. So I'd take a half an hour out of that. So it would have been about, probably close to an hour that I sat on the side of the road. Slowly he began to slip into a state of peace till finally I sensed he had left and moved on, left me for the moment. Suffice to say, my perishables perished. I didn't have a freezer pack, and February is pretty hot here in Australia, so I know I lost a lot of stuff, but it was worth it to save, I hoped, to save my mate. That night I made contact with Danny and via text messages, and I told him my experiences. I don't need to read that bit, you already know. On the Wednesday of the 28th of February, Danny and his wife and I attended the memorial service in Gayndah, and on the way back, Danny mentioned he could feel Sam around him. Now I'm skipping bits because I don't want to make this too long, but feel free and read it, like the bit around the service and the people that were there at the time, because that'll fill in the gaps, I think, because I'm going to be saying some stuff that you'll need that bit to. All right. On the way home, Danny and I both shared our encounters concerning Sammy being there at the funeral, because we felt he was there and sensed him. A week or two later, I visited Danny and his wife, and we chatted over our recollections, some of the spiritual knowledge before he passed over, which was that he would not listen to us. So a week or two later, I visited. I missed that day. And in particular, at that time that I went down to Harvey Bay, we both, were really frustrated that we couldn't get through to Sam to tell him what we knew before he passed. But we both pledged to continue trying to contact Sam through meditations over the weeks and months ahead, and then, because that had been a circle, and we closed that circle. Now, I go through a description of limbo, purgatory, hell, and high water, and that's, as I say, I'll skip that. On the 15th of May 2018, Sam made long contact. Well, I thought there was something before that. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I had no further contact with Sammy. I think there might have been one or two because I think when I'd got home after the shopping, I'd gone up to my friends and they said that he'd gone back to the breathing problem, but they would work on him and asked my permission to use me in spirit. In other words, from Stewie's perspective, Peter was speaking to him and I wasn't even conscious of it because my guides had taken over, which I'd more than willingly given permission to do in other occasions, because this is not the only case. Oh, here we are. My friend said, oh okay. Oh, that's right. This is, I was getting ready to have a meal. And that was on 12th of April. I was planning to get a meal and my spirit friend said otherwise. I didn't get to have the meal that night until 9:30. Oh, that's right. That was the big one. Now, I've gone through as I recalled it, I've actually, like it's a dictation, Sam said this and I said this. So just flipping past that, or over that, and just explaining, he came and he was panting. He was again back to that state. And he's saying, why won't someone help me? Why isn't the bell working in the hospital? He still felt he was in the hospital, or the hospice. I need the oxygen turned up and I need some light. It's so dark in here. And he was panicking. He was really panicking. And of course, immediately that happened, my spirit friends came through me and spoke to him. So even though I've got here, Pete says this, it's not me. But they use me and oh, gee, I'll never stop them, ever. And they were talking through me. Anyway, we'll say we, so that it's spirit and myself, said, remember what we said last time, Sam, about the breathing? And Sam's just panting and panting. Take a long, slow, deep breath, and we went through that. Sam's crying, I'm in pain, I can't get comfortable because of the breathing, something is terribly wrong. And then we said, can't help you, old mate, if you don't follow the rules. It was really, they were hard. We were saying, we can't, we're not going to muck around with you. We're here to help you. It's a bit like a doctor that's come in and the patient's saying, don't touch me, don't touch me. And the doctor is being firm and saying, I've got to. This is for your benefit and it's in your best interest. Because in the case of spirit, it definitely is. I'm not insulting doctors, but some people might say, well, I'm not too keen about doctors. Spirit friends, they are God's representatives, or the Creator's representatives. So yeah, he couldn't get better. Anyway, so he saw, and okay, and he says, I can't believe the nurses have left me. And then I've, inside of me, have turned to my guide and said, how can we handle this, my friends? And they said to me, we'll put words in your mouth. And of course, they already had started to, but I mean, they were letting me know. I better keep an eye how long I'm going with this year. It looks like it's going to be 3 or 4 sessions. So anyway, how do we handle this? So then the combination, we said, so Sam, when was the last time you saw a doctor or nurse? He was quite irritated. He said, oh, I don't know. Oh, ages ago, or a while ago. And then we said, minutes, hours, days? Oh, I don't know. Seems like ages ago. Do you remember talking to me last when you had that dreadful sensation of breathlessness? Yeah, then I had a wonderful dream. What was the dream? Oh, there were all these friends sharing memories of me, my time in the Navy, the RSL people, my brother and his family, you, Danny and his wife were all there. It was beautiful. So, not long after that last breathless episode, how long after that, the breathless episode? Was it straight away? No. How long afterwards? No, straight away. Straight after. It wasn't a dream, Sam. That was the eulogy that we had for you at the RSL. He was confused, but that was a dream. I know it was. When I'm awake, I'm dark and cold and I'm struggling to breathe. But then I got into this sleep state and have these beautiful dreams. Are all of your dreams like that one? No, sometimes it's just sleep. So what status are you in now? I sensed he was confused and looking around. Are you dreaming or are you awake? And he said, well, I don't know. The room's dark and cold, just your torch makes things a bit brighter. I don't know. Now, the torch, I'm assuming, because I wasn't, well, I was conscious of it all, but it was my spirit friends, and I think they were the torch. I think that was the light that gave him comfort and the feeling that he was okay. We said, are you struggling for breath? No, I feel pretty good. Wish there was some stronger light in here. And then they said, that's coming. You just have to be a bit patient, a bit longer. So then there was a pause, and then we said, so what do you recall of the gathering of friends and family at Gayndah? The one you call the dream. What do you remember? Sam, 1 minute I was in intensive care, and then I was in the dream. I could feel people's emotions. I could feel sadness, but I could also feel kindness and caring. It was really difficult different to how I normally feel when I'm with friends and family. Like I knew who was true and who was genuine. There were about 100 people there that day, Sam. Surprised and bright at first, then the mood changed. Some of them, and this was Sam, some of them came for the food, I know. I could feel it. Didn't bother to visit me when I was in the retirement village or my long stay in the private hospital. So, folks, if you have deceased relatives and you go to their wake or their passing and you haven't been before, remember they will know. So, I'm assuming it'll be the case of most. So don't just turn up on the day to have some cake and because you're a part of, in his case, that they were apparently members of, or people associated with the RSL and the town community, some of them, and they just turn up for the. So that's what Sam is saying. I mean, the poor buggers were probably doing more than that, but that's how he felt. But weren't they there to help you find peace, like letting go and wishing you well? A lot of false emotion. You, Danny, and Danny's wife, and a few others, including my brother and his family, you were all genuine. Others were just there under obligation and for the party food. Us, I better keep an eye on the time, yeah. Gee, we go through this, don't we? Us again. Hey, mate, isn't that how you were at some funerals you used to attend? Quite for a while. I'm not saying I'm dead yet. Smiles. We said, Sam, I asked you before how long before you saw a doctor or nurse, and you said a while ago. He nodded. So when did you last take a shit and a piss? Pardon the expressions, but we are Aussies. When was your last meal? How many visitors have you had since that dream? And I'm calling your eulogy. Quite some time. Quite a while. Us. Does that seem feasible, that you can go that long without eating, drinking, visiting from doctors or nurses, having a pee or a shit? He said he was very confused. I'm just so lost. I can't even read my own writing. I'm just so lost. Nothing makes sense to me. Then my spirit friend said, I take a short break because Sam needs to ease back a bit. I poured myself a drink and turned off my dinner, which was partly burnt anyway, which was well and truly overcooked by now. On my return, I felt he was more relaxed and ready for another session. Now, I've got 6 minutes on this, so I'll go through it to as much as I can. Us again. Okay, mate, we're going to turn on the lights. Move your legs over the side of the bed. No, I think I'll leave this because this is getting into a second section. So we'll stop the session here. I'll stop reading the session here. I'll come back to that. So just basically just some fill-ins between us that happened between that and now in the story. I was going through a lot of turmoil too. I'd had encounters before, but I'd never had an encounter like this, where it was so real and emotional. I mean, I was in virtually whelming up tears, and this euphoric sense because you've got a control of the heavens working through you. I've done other blogs, as you've seen. Most of them are okay. There's been one or two where I've gone, ooh, well, that's the emotional ones. But this was way above any of those. This was one where I was talking to someone I knew, and even though the words are one thing that I'm reading, there was other parts that I knew were him, that I knew were Sam. And they were in the back of my feelings, these little idiosyncrasies that I would have known anyway. They were coming out of the blue when I wasn't expecting it. It's not like I'm talking to him and it's like, oh, now he'd scratch his head now, or he would go and get himself a cuppa, or those things I could predict. These were things that were, and it's hard to explain it, but they were things that I knew I didn't know, I couldn't have known, that made me aware that this is real, because it was my spirit friends reassuring me, because, I've got a very responsible job here, channeling for them, and who knows, I could be saying stuff that's just a load of rubbish, although I wasn't saying it, was I? So, it's one of those things where, but I'm on my toes all the time. I didn't know that then, of course. I didn't know this is genuine. As will unfold in the story, you'll see why. Now, just say you want to come back, because I think we might finish here. Say you want to come back. The next step is where spirit friends take him to the light. Now, this is just opening up the curtains and looking outside. And then the absolute awesome shock that we both got at what he saw. Thank you, clock. 11 o'clock is going to be a long time, folks. Then after that, the seemingly release and he's all right and he's going on, but then the return back where he's had what we call rebound. Rebound. So we've got that. Then there are the sections where I'm in communication through text, to Danny. And Danny is getting, and I'm not sharing this with Danny at the time, some of it I think I might have. But if I did, would be in the text when I'm coming up to that section. And he's getting stuff completely separate to me. So we are being confirmed that this was genuine. And then we go to his actual catching up with his partner, but not in a way he was happy about, but just the same. That happens earlier in the next section. There's a connection with his wife, but not as he expected. Then he was hoping further down that he'd be all right. So there's this whole story of he's finally getting to understand that there's something that's not too bad. He's happy with it, including the travelling on a train. No, he's viewing a train. He's up high and he's looking down this beautiful steam train running through the mountains of Switzerland. Things like that. Anyway, that's enough for this. I'd like to have got more done, but it's a long session. So if you want to come back to part B, please, I'd love to have you back. As always, thank you for following me and my channel. And just before we go, just go quietly within yourself and say, I don't know who Sam was, but hey, I wish him well. All right? And the same with anyone that you know, any friends, anyone that's passed over. That's all you have to do, is to say, I wish you well. Righto, running out of time. Catch you in part B. Thank you.